Hi everybody, I'm Michael Porter and thank you for tuning in to Real Health Today. The demands of modern life have left many of us feeling overwhelmed and struggling to cope, putting the body under a huge amount of stress. Over time, this stress can cause a toll on the brain and mental well-being, as well as our overall health. So in our Real Health Medicine Cabinet, a feature whereby the Real Health team try out natural products available on the market and then invite experts into studio to give us their opinions on them, we've added a natural supplement that can help lower stress and restore brain and mental well-being. But before we get into the details of that, we've invited natural practitioner Rory Jean-Jacques to chat to us about how chronic stress and tension affect our brains and how we go about reducing both the stress and its impact on our body. Welcome to the studio, Rory. Good to have you with us again.
Great to be here,
Excellent.
As always.
Rory, I think that most of us feel stress in our lives on a daily basis, and it's something that sometimes can be almost like a physical pressure on us and on the brain, on the body. So how does this impact the brain as it impacts the body?
So everyone talks about stress. We're under stress, and we live in a modern time where there's huge amounts of demands on us mentally, physically, on a number of different levels. So stress can be defined as the brain's ability to respond to demand. Now, as we know, we have demands from a multitude of angles, and our stress system, which is our body's ability to respond and adapt to stress, is under major assault. Yeah. So you have a part of the brain called the hypothalamus, which is like the CEO of the brain, and that regulates what we call the 4 Fs. So that's fight, flight, feeding, and sex.
Basically the things to sustain life.
Yes, absolutely. So we are very aware of how fight or flight plays into it. So when you're under chronic stress, which might be work stress, emotional stress, financial stress, your brain responds to that as an emergency situation. And they've found that when you have chronic stress over a long period of time, it actually alters how your brain functions. Okay. I'm not sure how you found when you're under stress, you can't think straight.
Absolutely.
You feel doof. Yeah. You can't remember things. You're overwhelmed. You don't have that capacity to manage things in a calm state. Yeah. And we're very, very aware of that. And this is what certain chemicals that get produced in our body, which are stress hormones. So epinephrine, which is noradrenaline, and the famous one that we all know about, cortisol.
Yes,
the big bad cortisol. But we need cortisol. Cortisol is what regulates our energy, our sleep cycles, our immunity, our inflammation, our sugar levels. But what happens is cortisol, we get what's called cortisol dysregulation. Okay. So what happens is we either have too much or too little. And what cortisol does is it can actually kill off brain cells.
Oh, wow,
and the more you have it and the longer term that you have it, part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex, which controls decision making, behavioral, how you behave, and cognitive, your reactions, your moods and things like that, actually starts to shrink.
Okay. So it's really a full-on cognitive effect on your way to process thinking and decision-making and all of that, which it causes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And stress would be one of those things where you would have it for a short period of time, but your body system is doing exactly what it needs to do, but the problem is you.
Yes.
The problem is us. Our cognitive thinking, how we haven't learned the tools on how to deal with it. Yeah. So there are a lot of things that we can do in terms of diet, lifestyle, thinking.
What are some of the things in terms of sort of from a nutrition point of view that you would
So some of the simplest things that you can do is drink celery juice.
Okay.
And, this is something that I'm a big proponent of, but it has minerals in it that nourish the nerves.
Okay.
Calm the nerves. So people that have been through PTSD, stress, trauma, anxiety, and if you're particularly stressed, have a glass of celery juice.
Okay.
Calms you down. Dark chocolate.
Okay.
Green tea.
Yes. Quite antioxidant-rich foods and
yes,
things like that.
Antioxidant-rich food. There's certain chemicals in dark chocolate that lower stress.
Okay.
Very high in magnesium. Take a magnesium supplement. It helps with what's called neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to adapt to stress and anxiety and build new neurons.
Okay.
So what bad stress can do is it can make your brain produce the wrong type of neurons that fire together, that make you, whenever you respond to stress, you become that much more stressed all the time. So you become more receptive to stress. So
it basically affects your well-being overall in that way. So you've got a physical, a mental, and a overall impact from chronic stress.
Absolutely, absolutely. It impairs so many different things. This is why managing stress and managing the amount of stress hormones in your system through diet, through breathing
yeah.
and holding in various meditation apps, they've found that the brain's ability to adapt to stress becomes is 100-fold better if you're doing some form of meditation or some form of movement. Just 20 minutes a day.
Yeah, I must say, as a yoga practitioner myself, that's one of
Yes.
the biggest lessons I learned, that breathing
Yes.
is such a huge part of what you do. And when you're sitting at a desk for long hours, often even your posture starts to inhibit your breathing, and then you become very tired. And I physically myself find myself sitting up and taking that deep
Breathe
breath.
from the diaphragm.
Yes.
Move the stomach. We tend to breathe from the upper chest,
Yes.
and then we start to hyperventilate. The reverse way is not oxygenation, it's actually CO2.
So you're basically starving yourself or suffocating yourself.
Yes, exactly. You're actually hyper oxygenating, which
Okay.
is strange. We talk about CO2. That's why when
Right.
people get anxious, you put a bag, a paper
Okay,
bag,
right, yes.
get carbon dioxide into the
dioxide.
system, calms the system.
What other natural ways are there that you could use to combat
So
chronic
we
stress?
spoke about food, but some of the best supplements is magnesium threonate. It's a particular form of magnesium you can take up before bed or in the morning. Lavender essential oil is quite great. Half a kilo of Epsom salts and bicarb in a bath. And really, really good supplements that I work with are things like ashwagandha, rhodiola,
Okay.
magnolia bark.
Right.
These regulate and balance out your cortisol.
Yes.
So your sleep starts to get better, your cognitive function gets better. You don't have these extreme highs and lows.
Okay.
So those are what we call adaptogenic herbs. They help the body adapt mentally and physically to stress.
And in terms of the long-term sort of negative impacts, things like depression and anxiety, how extreme can those impacts be?
So they've done research with chronic stress in children, that chronic stress over a long period of time can actually create lesions in the brain. Your brain actually starts to function in a completely different way. So the part of the brain which deals with decision making and stuff like that actually becomes repressed. And the amygdala, which is the brain which deals with fear and apprehension and emergencies, becomes a lot more pronounced. So even the smallest stress that comes up, then your body would start to respond to it in a heightened way.
Right.
So over the long term, it can start to create issues with memory, Alzheimer's, because your brain produces the type of matter which is not conducive to thinking, produces more white matter when we want a lot more gray matter.
So it's in everybody's best interest to just try and find ways to manage that stress throughout
Absolutely.
your
Stress
life.
can be very, very damaged to your brain and cognitive function over the long term.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So Rory, you bought a product called Unwind from
Yes.
NeoGenesis. Tell us a little bit about this product and what it does. I mean, based on what we've discussed now,
Yes.
how does it work?
So Unwind was designed for mental stress, tension, and anxiety to be used as a day product.
Okay.
So it has ashwagandha that we just spoken
Yes.
about, has 3 other nervine herbs that nourish the nerves and take stress off the nervous system. Now your brain is your nervous system.
Okay.
So it's got passion flower, lemon balm,
Right.
lavender,
Okay.
and ashwagandha.
A lot of things that you also know, the smells are quite soothing as well.
Absolutely. So those essential oils have an effect on your brain waves. So they bring your brain waves to a level of stress coping. It also contains an extract of something called theanine,
Right.
which comes from green tea. That's
Okay.
why I said drink green tea,
Yes.
because it gives you that calming effect. So what this does is it lowers stress hormones in the system. It nourishes your nervous system to respond, so you feel calmer, you feel more in control, you don't feel that overwhelm, you sleep better, you have better mood and energy. So this is a product for our time.
Okay. And who is it good for? I mean, for kids at school, stress for exams, just general life stresses. Should anybody avoid this kind of product?
So there are no particular contraindications for it. It can be used by a wide range of people studying for exams, stressed executives, people that tend to have excess anxiety or panic attacks and things like that. It's very, very effective.
Is that something that you would take consistently over a period of time, or if you're heading into a stressful period, would you be able to take it as a sort
You
of
could absolutely use it as and when you need
Okay,
it.
fantastic.
You can use it over the longer term, but it would be a good idea to possibly use it for 3 weeks, cycle off for 1 week,
Okay.
because the body can get a little bit used to it and you might need higher
Okay.
doses. But it's a very, very gentle product, yet powerful and very effective.
And beyond the stress, are there any other health benefits to the product and the ingredients of it?
So L-theanine has remarkable effects on your mood, your cognitive function, antioxidant levels.
Okay.
The ashwagandha has positive effects on your immunity, your inflammation. your thyroid function.
Right.
And those other nervines have a very, passion flower supports proper circulation.
Okay. So general well-being is going to be improved hugely anyway.
Absolutely. So it's got a very wide base of effect, and we get very, very good feedback with it.
Great.
I mean, I've seen my patients do very well on it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Something worth trying.
Definitely.
Where's it available, Rory? Where can we find it?
So it's available at health shops and independent pharmacies across South Africa, as well as on NeoGeneHealth.com.
Wonderful. Super. Well, thank you so much. Very interesting to chat to you.
It's been great to be here. Thanks so much.
Rory. Great.